Time for another of our conversations, and today I've welcomed Nick Broady into the hot seat. Nick, of course, is well known to members. He has a high profile in the county and was, in fact, a founder member of the Honourable Company. And he has been a court member for quite a few years now. Welcome, Nick.
Good afternoon, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to see you. So let's turn the clock back, can we, to when the Honourable Company started. And yes. Were you surprised to hear from Sir Henry with an invitation?
Definitely surprised and delighted that I was obviously asked to become the start of the foundation. And yeah, I was honoured, put it that way. And I was more delighted, in fact, then to head up the Sports Action Group and progress further to the board. So yeah, delighted to make such a difference in the years that I've been involved.
Absolutely, and you, as you say, you've been involved since the start and still play an active part. I mean, let's retrace our steps a bit, Nick. I mean, what people might not know about you, of course, is that you're a businessman with quite a sheaf of companies, and also that you are very much a Gloucester boy, aren't you? Born and bred, I believe.
I am. I'm to say Matson boy, born in Underhill Road in a council flat. Yes, and then progressed to Trebworth. Lived in Gloucester all my life. My family both worked and ran businesses in Gloucester. And then I went out and started work for myself at 16 years old when my father decided that he was leaving us. So that was it. I had to get a job. So and Gloucester through and through.
Your mum, and what was your family in those days? Your mum and brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I've got one brother, one sister. My father and Gloucester woodworm, and that was what his business was, building trade. And I sort of did a bit of that as a child and learned a bit about building, but I don't think it was something I was ever going to go into until I was 16, and then applied for a job as a trainee car salesman at Regional Motors in Barton Street, opposite the India House pub.
Yeah, and as they say, the rest is history, isn't it? Because you've stuck with the car trade ever since, really, haven't you?
Yeah, stuck with the car trade ever since. That was my trade. I learned from a guy called Roger Perry. We discussed this the other day. He was the one who took me on. I stayed with him till 21. It was actually, the group was owned by Wesley Fry, which had the hot dog vans that we all saw in the county, and obviously very good in commercial property. We had 4 dealerships then. So at 21, I was Regional Motors, which then got called Roger Clark Autos. We had Car Finder, we had Top Gear, we had James Clark Autos, which is on the Bristol Road. So I ran all of those. Wow. And then at 25, decided that I was going to leave and start Avenue Cars.
Yeah. And where was that based initially?
Avenue Cars, I started at Mercia Road in Gloucester. I went to the bank and asked if I could borrow a lot of money, £1 million, and they laughed. So I needed to find a way of getting Avenue Cars started. So I went and approached a company called Lease Contracts in Evesham. They just started. In fact, they were a company where the wine bars in Cheltenham, the building, obviously I can't think of the name now, that's where they based themselves. And they went to the pitch here in Evesham. So they were obviously getting into the rental or the leasing market, but big into London with Citibank Savings and all the big companies. I went to them, it seemed to fit at the time, and they helped fund me, and then they got sold to G Capital a few years later, and then I bought the rest of the shares and continued the Avenue Cars saga.
So, and you just bring us up to date. I know you've just moved locations, haven't you, out to on the A40?
Well, Mercia Road, then we went to London Road, everybody knows, and then when I sold London Road for flats and housing, I then moved to City Business Centre, which, as the press knows and the world knows, I've just sold to the City Council, although not completed yet, for Widen the Road. So we had a property out at Birdwood on the A40, which we've had since 2003. And funny enough, I bought it from Roger Head on a curry night. I've been renting it for years, and then decided that we needed an opportunity and we needed a base. So we've come out and built beautiful showrooms out here. And yeah, I'm delighted with it, and it's lovely. And we're back in business on the proper retail side.
And fingers crossed, going well, because I'm
going very well.
From what I hear, van sales and second-hand car sales are going through the roof.
It's the weirdest time in the motor trade I've ever experienced. In the motor trade, I've experienced recessions and insurance hypes and all sorts of things, but I've never seen prices like this before, and the availability. Obviously, what I've seen, I've been asked to report in the press, is from day one, what we've had is no new vehicles being manufactured. So you've got a shortage of part exchanges going in. You've got the likes of British car auctions buying that we buy the car cinch, and they've got the auction groups. They're trying to control this type of the market. They're releasing vehicles back into the marketplace at a slow rate. So there is a huge demand out there. Van prices, as I quoted this morning, have gone through the roof simply because Amazon have taken control of a lot of vans, because of course home deliveries have been huge. The vehicles again aren't manufactured for new. So yeah, we've got a demand and very little supply.
Okay. Let's so fingers crossed, good luck with that. I'm sure that will be a great success. The other side of your life is the Pied Piper appeal, or the Pied Piper charity, I should call it, I suppose. How long have you been involved in that?
Over 15 years now I've been involved with Pied Piper. Again, I need to blame Roger Head for that, dragging me in. And then I became Roger's vice chairman. I was Roger's vice for 7 years, nearly 8 years. And then I became chairman 8.5 years ago. So time's moving on, of course. As you know, Peter Hickman started a local businessman with Baroness Rennie when the Pied Piper was definitely needed to support the children and what the hospital needed at the time and the requirements. It would never be the state-of-the-art facility that it is today without where it started. I've got 18 months left as chairman, so hopefully I'm looking for a new taker. But yeah, we do 4 major things in the county, as you know. The Children's Centre of Gloucester Rural is the main thing, which is our focal point. Sick and disabled schools in the county supplying minibuses, sensory rooms, sensory bathrooms, and as you know, recently the Shamwell Centre, Pied Piper started it, triggered it off with £500,000. So that's a very successful, beautiful building now. Mental health in children is huge, and we're very much more involved in that, and that's Baroness Rennie getting me involved more with mental health, and we're doing lots of projects in the county as we speak. And some 5-6 years ago, I went to, probably a bit longer now, Cloud9 Charity, which started at the same time as Pied Piper. Basically, trustees got too old, decided not to do it, and they were supplying the holidays, last wish holidays for terminally ill children and life-threatening illness for children. So Pied Piper's taken that on, and very much indeed we've progressed in that and doing about, before COVID, about 20 holidays approximately a year for children and families in the county. So yeah, a lot, and we've got to do our events to keep fundraising.
Absolutely. We'll mention one of those events in a moment, but I'm wondering whether, you know, one of the great things about the Pied Piper, I think, is the fact that you make it very clear that you're a children's charity providing facilities for children in Gloucestershire. And I'm just wondering whether you've ever been tempted to go bigger to other parts of the country, perhaps.
No, I mean, you look at Winston's Wish that started in Gloucestershire and they've gone bigger. I think there's so much need in the county of Gloucestershire. I'm really proud that we're a Gloucestershire charity. And then when we promote our events and we then talk to companies, I think also they like fundraising. They like to know where the money is. And of course, we're all volunteers, Mark.
Yeah.
And the beauty about it is Pied Piper has been built on volunteers and people's time. And I really think that businesses like to keep the money in the county, and they like to know where the money's going in particular. Yeah. And you see our newsletter that goes out, which Julie does. A focal point is, we're raising this much money, this is where the money's gone. And when you give us £1, your £1 goes to the project that you want it to go to. So hence we do our own events. Which, as you know, the motor show at Higham Court, we do the ball, we do the golf days, and that gives us the money to pay our small overheads that we've got, because every business has got an overhead, and we treat Pied Piper very much as a business. And of course, everything goes to the children. So yeah, it's a lot of effort, a lot of time. Through COVID, it's been difficult because obviously we've not been able to have events. Our online events have been quite successful, but like every other charity, we've been hit hard. But we're strong and we're successful, and we've got a reserve that we can get through all of this, and now we're coming back quite strongly.
Good. Well, good luck to you. And you mentioned the classic car show. I mean, we're not quite sure when this recording is going to be put up on the net, but if it goes out before June the 20th, that's the weekend, isn't it? Where, and you've got this ongoing friendship. I was going to use the word relationship, but I think people would get the wrong end of the stick. But this fantastic relationship with Roger Head, fellow honourable company member, of course,
yes.
And at Higham Court. I mean, yes. You know, you guys are a great double act, and what you do for the Pied Piper is fantastic, isn't it?
Well, Roger's kept me on my toes for most of my life. definitely. And I hope when I took over from Roger, we've moved on again. We're opening our second shop. We're going to do more events over the next 12 months. And we're progressing pipe up well. But Roger's a stalwart. You know, he's chair of trustees. He's the solid brick foundations, as I like to call it. So he's our go-to.
And of course, Peter Hickman's still going strong at 90 plus. I can't remember how old he is now, but I know he's over 90.
He's amazing. I speak to him every few weeks to update him. He still can't believe that we're going, and we're going as well and as strong as. Yeah. And I think when Peter talks to me, the need for pipe in the county is getting stronger. Yeah. And I think pipe is always going to be a charity. I think it'll be here 20 years time, more than that. So I'm looking forward to the next person takes to me to drive the bus further.
So anybody watching who fancies a crack at being the chairman, get in touch.
Absolutely. I have your CV and I have a list of things you have to do, which probably won't like that and the amount of time it takes. But hey.
Well, Nick, it's great to talk to you today, and thanks very much for giving us your time. I know you're a busy man, and hopefully we'll get some honourable company members along to your event on June the 20th, depending on when this goes out. But if not, keep an eye out on social media or on Punchline or whatever. Or Julie Kent will harass you, and there'll be other events, won't there?
Absolutely, but come and see Roger's beautiful gardens at Home Court. Come and see the classic cars. That's all it is, and have a coffee or a beer, and just walk the gardens, because the gardens are absolutely stunning, and they are the best. Roger quotes it to me every year. These gardens are the finest it's ever been. But this year, I can honestly say, with the effort through lockdown and the hard work it's put in, they are amazing. They are stunning.
The other thing that just before we go, that you and Roger share, of course, is you are both born and bred Gloucester. And you've made good, to use a cliche.
Thank you very much, Mark. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Everybody. See you soon. Bye, Mark. Bye.
Bye.